Welcome to the Wildcast podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Oh, welcome into Wildcast Studios for your Season 7 finale of the Wildcast podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats, presented by Alpha's Appliance Solution, the premier destination for appliance and storage solutions in Moncton. Right now, they've got the Whirlpool Maytag Summer Kitchen Suite Savings Event. Save $150 when you purchase 2 or $300 when you purchase 3 or more qualifying Maytag or Whirlpool kitchen appliances. Must be made before June 19th. As always, fan listeners, I am your co-host, Adam Lund, and I am joined by your favorite co-hoster, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. We made it to the end. You heard the beers crack. I'm now going to take my drink. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. That Alpha's Appliances sale should be on dryers because I need a dryer.
You need a dryer?
I'm not a fan of this kitchen suites sales event discriminating against those who purchased a home that had a malfunctioning dryer.
Have you been there to check out the sales?
No, I haven't actually.
How's the moving in process going? Like, you all done everything?
Oh yeah, everything's moved in.
It's just setting it where you want it.
Everything's all set up. I have a beautiful interior designer wife.
Oh, that's exciting.
Who also had her beautiful interior designer sister down to get us all settled in and decorate the pad. And the pad's all decorated. I just opened boxes and they took care of the rest. It said kitchen, so I brought the damn box of the kitchen and set her down.
Well, they have a perfect laundry pairing event.
I don't need a pair. I just need a dryer.
Okay. No, right now they got a lot of kitchen stuff. But hey, go down there, check them out. Maybe they got deals that just aren't advertised on the.
I'll be asking for the Wildcast podcast discount.
Yeah, that's for Jeremy only. Please don't go in there and ask for the Wildcast podcast discount. Just random people are like, "I'm here for the Wildcast podcast discount." That's not a thing. And then I get a phone call. Nope, that's not a thing. It's the draft was here and it was done. And I guess just update everyone on your summer plans. What do you got going on?
So summer plans. So I was informed this morning that on the 21st of June, the 22nd of June, and the 23rd of June, Avery has a birthday party to go to. So I'm all...
Like each day or the whole weekend?
Yeah, each day. There's one Friday night, there's one all day Saturday, and there's one on the Sunday.
Wow.
Which just happens to be Rib Fest weekend.
Oh, that's exciting.
So I need to find time to get to the Rib Fest in between a birthday party on all 3 days of the Rib Fest. So I will magically make it work because I cannot miss Rib Fest. I love it.
Yeah, no, I go, I've been a couple times, but I'm just like a regular rib guy. The alligator, the spicy stuff.
Alligator? They don't do alligator at the Rib Fest. I wish they did alligator at the Rib Fest.
I thought there was someone from Florida a while ago that come up with alligator stuff.
I want to try it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not aware of it, but I would love it.
I thought they had some weird, maybe it was pre-COVID that they had
potentially
companies from then. And I was just like, oh, I don't know
smoked
how to...
alligator.
Yeah, have you ever had that?
Tastes like chicken.
No? Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Tastes like chicken.
I'm going down to Florida in September, so that may be a possibility.
Bring back an alligator.
Yeah. I know we were going to get an Airbnb, and I'm like, or we could just get a hotel where they don't climb over the fence and into your random pool and, go out there to go for a swim and it's an alligator.
Speaking of them, stop killing alligators to make Gatorade. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly how it's made. You do know where Gatorade comes, or why it's Gatorade, eh? Why it's called Gatorade?
Invented by the Florida Gators.
There you go. Okay, good. I knew you didn't think it was really alligator. For those who didn't know, and you going to the Blue Jays game, eh?
Yeah, that's a plan. We'll be in Ontario for a couple weeks. We're leaving on the 20th of July. We're going to do the drive through Maine, which is
you're going the States way,
essentially the same way we took to get to Sherbrooke, and then cut towards Ontario. So when we get to that random store that we stopped at, and I forgot that it was American money only. I was like, Layla, I don't have my credit card. credit card or American money on me? Can you buy me this?
Yeah.
I will somehow.
I mean, he did have it in his car. We just didn't feel like run back out there to get it. We were on a bit of a time crunch to get to Sherbrooke, but
so
Pepez
General Store.
Yeah, we went into Target too, and we're like, oh yeah, the debit cards don't work.
Yeah.
Bloody. And so you got to pay everything on.
No, so we're going that way, and so we're there for a couple of weeks. So we'll be home.
You going both ways there, or are you coming back through New Brunswick?
I think we'll be, because we're gonna have Teddy, so it's gonna be tough for us to stop in places. But it'd be nice if we stopped somewhere on the way home, found a pet friendly patio,
right?
Because I'm really craving that Buffalo Wild Wings again, the garlic parmesan sauce,
which you can now buy at Superstore.
What?
You didn't know it?
No.
Remember I sent you the picture?
Oh yeah.
I remember I sent you the picture. You can buy Buffalo Wild Wings sauces. I think that's one there.
God.
But yeah, you can buy it where you get your barbecue sauce.
Yep.
In that aisle, there's a bunch of Buffalo Wild Wing sauces.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, you got to get there because they're shutting a whole bunch of them down.
I heard. Yeah.
So hopefully that one's.
You mean a pet friendly, dog friendly, pet friendly patio?
If I remember correctly, I think they had that, or at least you could just keep the dog on the outside while you guys are inside the patio. Yeah, we did all of our summer plan. Like we got absolutely nothing coming down the pipe until September for football going down to Tampa. But we did our trip in the summer, and now it's just like kind of sucks when you do it in the end of May, and you're just like, okay, cool. So we're not going anywhere other than like weekend trips, June, July, and August, which is fine too. Got to save some bank. But yeah, other than that, we have literally nothing. You got anything else going on?
No, honestly, just work. Birthday parties for my daughter, apparently. Toronto, Ontario. That's it. You know, hopefully this guy to the left of me invites me to play golf.
I said, when are we going to golf? And you said, when I can hit it straight.
Well, it's true.
I'm
I
waiting
need
for
to
you to
hit
say,
the ball
I can
straight.
hit the ball straight. 100%.
But at the same time, I don't need to hit. If you want comic relief on the golf course, just invite me anytime you guys go.
Done.
I'll be, look, what am I supposed to do? Aim for the water?
Done. Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely. You're supposed to aim for the water. No, you're not supposed to aim for the water.
But you aimed into the water.
I didn't mean to aim into the water. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on. I mean, I guess we kind of buried the lead that I sent you the other day that Big Brother's no longer going to be on Global. Now, I didn't read the article. Does that mean it's just not going to be on at all, or just not on Global?
Yeah, so apparently it's
TV?
on a hiatus.
Okay.
So
Are that many people mad about
well, that's what I did. I signed the petition and said, bring back Vivek.
Vivek, yeah.
And signed the petition. I was thrown off. I didn't watch another episode after that happened. I thought it was the worst kind of way to be evicted from a show. I understand it's reality TV. Anything can happen. Expect unexpected. But I think they did him dirty to the point where I just never watched another episode.
Yeah, I don't think you were alone when I saw it. I was like, whoa, that's... Now everything's kind of going to the streaming world and stuff like that. It's not going to be on Global TV per se. It might be on the app, but what will it take to bring you back? Or are you going to give the new season a shot anyway?
Put me on the show, and I'll not only watch it when I'm off,
but win it.
I'll win it. So that's it.
Yeah.
Put me on the show. Accept my application.
That's exciting. I can't wait. Plus, we got Amazing Race Canada, which starts sometime in the summer. But
July 2nd.
July 2nd? Is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay. We won't be here to update you, but maybe we'll give you our thoughts on the old social medias where you can always follow us, Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram, Wildcast Podcast, TikTok, Wildcast Podcast, and, of course, like and subscribe button on YouTube. Don't forget to click the little bell. Not much going on in the summer, but we're, I think, 14 followers away from 300, so it'd be cool to have that back as we get into training camp. All right, let's get some news and notes from around the queue.
News and notes from around the queue.
We are pleased to announce the new sponsor for the news notes from around the league. It's the same new sponsor, but I'm just reading the ad read. Presented by Integrity Lawn Care, looking to do some summer cleanup. Don't want to do it or don't know where to start. They're accepting new clients right now. Give them a call at 506-866-8218 or email them at integritylawnCare@hotmail.com. Sir, we survived the draft. The draft was this past weekend. I guess, first of all, did you like the 2-day thing?
Initially, I loved the idea. However, my fatigue level was ridiculous.
On which day?
Both days.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've said this on the show or not, but I'm not an energy drink drinker. I don't like them. I don't support what they do to you or whatever. But Jesus H, I needed one Friday.
Yeah.
And I needed one Saturday.
Plus your espresso shot from Starbucks.
And my espresso drink on Saturday morning from Starbucks. It was, I know we went in there saying this thing won't be over till midnight on Friday. I was pleasantly surprised it ended when it did.
Yep.
When we interviewed Mavs last week, I said, 10:37 before or after. He said after, but it actually ended before 10:37.
Yeah,
so I was pleasantly surprised. And I kind of did it on myself. And instead of going home and going straight to bed, I stayed up, drank a bunch of beer, had some pizza, and went to sleep.
On Friday night?
On Friday night.
Yeah.
That didn't,
of
course, sit well in my stomach.
Yeah.
So I was up a lot that night. And then I thought the media had to be there at 8:30 Saturday morning. I didn't know you could just show up whenever. So I was, of course, at the Avenir Center at 8:30, an hour before I had to be there, which didn't help. So I probably got to sleep at 1. I was up at 7. So I was a zombie on Saturday.
So for those, we are the two juxtaposed. You going to bed at 1:30 and getting up at 8, you're dead to the world. I can go to bed at 1:30, get up at 8, and be fine.
Yeah.
Which is what I did. I came home, did some graphic stuff in case there were trades, went to bed around 1:30, came home after day 2 and had a nap from 4 till, after I got all the posts done, from 4 till about 7:30, and then Layla wakes me up. She's like, it's like 7:30, so you should probably get up and get going. Maybe let's have something to eat before the hockey game. Because nap roulette, I never set an alarm. I just see what happens, and I was that tired. I probably would have slept till 3, 4 in the morning. I like the one day. I think, or the 2 day, sorry. I think what I would prefer in the 2 day is, first of all, thank God it was Friday, Saturday, not Saturday, Sunday, because I would have been, if I would have had to go to work the day, just done. But maybe, and I know TV rights makes it difficult, but Friday round 1, 2, and 3, but it starts at 5 o'clock. And you can, round 1 is the commissioner announcing the picks. Round 2 is, now at the press conference, the commissioner talked about having an ambassador for every, a former alumni and ambassador type thing for every team. So round 2, that ambassador selects the player. They come up, they get their jersey. Round 3, you go back to the regular, just call in the picks as they were. Because I found round 1 by itself was cool, but 2 through 14, and it was a lot because teams had to catch flights, was like...
Speaking of those flights...
Oh my goodness, I couldn't keep up to the draft part, but the flight part, holy...
So here I am in round 2, going through, the CSR list, checking off names. And I think after the 8th pick, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
It was just going way too fast. The funny part about it is it had to be over by 2 because the league, some of the league staff and some of the staff from teams had a 4:30 flight to catch back to Montreal. Well, that flight delayed till 5, delayed till 6, delayed till 7,
delayed till 9.
Delayed till 9, and then canceled.
Yeah.
The following morning, Sunday morning, which I'm at the airport because I'm bringing Megan's sister back, flight to Montreal, canceled.
It wasn't even bad weather.
The flight that was supposed to bring these teams' staff back at 4:20 on Saturday afternoon didn't depart Moncton until 6:30 Sunday night. 26 hours later. I'm just like, good.
I said to you, they have their own plane.
Yeah.
The teams go, Cape Breton was taking it. Baie-Comeau was taking it. Bathurst was taking it. They have their own plane.
Yep.
Why is this plane not taking QMJHL staff
It could have done
back?
runs
Yeah.
back and forth
Yeah. Like
before they actually took off.
I felt bad for Raphael. Like,
yeah.
I think he was at 15 of 17 nights in a hotel, including the Q final and the Memorial Cup.
Yeah.
And then it was like 18 of 20. Like, he just had to keep staying at Like, I felt bad for him. Like, man, it was
The points, though. I mean,
yeah, the points. Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting irritated and venting your frustrations on Twitter, but your points, man, you're getting yourself a pretty good vacation.
Yeah, no, they were done before two. We laughed thinking done before two. Yeah, first time. Yeah. But they were done before two, and credit to them. But they were ripping through rounds 2 through 14. So I would like round 1 and 3 on the Friday night, 1 to 3 on Friday night. Make round 1 the commissioner very special. Round 2 is your alumni that announces the picks. And then round 3 is just your regular announcer from the table. Now, if you don't have a round 2 pick, then your alumni announces round 3. And then your Saturday is rounds 4 through 12 because it now goes to 12 rounds in this regular draft. So we had some trades. Before we get there. Food review. You got your second lunch.
Yes.
I didn't eat it because I had to run home to get my power cord.
Where did your lunch go anyways?
Layla brought it home. I put it under the table, and Layla brought it home and ate it.
Oh, I was going to eat it. So comparing the lunch in Sherbrooke last year to the Avenir Center Saturday lunch, day and night difference. Much better at the Avenir Center. Big fan of those kettle chips that we got.
Yeah, it seemed to be
something. Big fan. The spice that they had on was perfect. The sandwich I actually really enjoyed as well. I'm not sure what kind of sandwich it was, but it didn't have too much sauce. Had the perfect amount of sauce and protein and veg on it. The cookies, I liked the combination of one chocolate chip cookie and one oatmeal raisin cookie. I really like that because it's either you like chocolate chip or you don't like chocolate chip.
Yeah.
And if you don't like chocolate chip, you like oatmeal raisin.
Yeah.
This way, everybody was happy because if you didn't like chocolate chip and you like oatmeal raisin, change it. Trade it with somebody.
Yeah.
I really like that. That was a nice touch. The apple, who eats apples? The bottle of water, obviously I drank. Solid 9.2 out of 10.
Yeah. So yeah, we had some trades to discuss. We'll go kind of around the league quickly around there. I mean, there were some trades, but there was like teams that you think would have made deals that didn't make deals, i.e., I guess some of the players in Drummondville. I guess that was a surprise for me is we didn't see the Gauthier move. We didn't see a Mercer move. We didn't see a lot of movement. Now, Pierre-Olivier Waugh was dealt for a haul, a first in 2025, a first in 2025, a third in 2024, and a fifth and a seventh in 2025 for him. But then there was like other deals on that. Catafor was dealt from Halifax to Rimouski. That was a first and a second in 2024, third in 2024 actually, and then a first and a second in 2026. But I think for me, the Drummondville and Baie-Comeau deals that just didn't happen. I think I was a little bit more surprised we didn't see more player movement in terms of everybody kind of anticipating that from the silliness that was 2 trade windows being open. And then, of course, the Moncton deal, Dylan McKinnon was acquired by Moncton for a first, second, and third in 2026, which was the picks at Christmas. And then in a separate deal, Marcus Vidicek, a third in 2024 and a third in 2025. That was Victo's pick. Comes to Moncton for Sean Carrier. So we talked a little bit about this on Q103 with Brock. I guess just your overall thoughts. I mean, for me, Dylan McKinnon, exactly what this team needs on the back end. Given I'm watching a lot of the Oilers, he's the Ekholm. He's the big piece, the big physical piece that can allow Morin to play his offensive game without having to worry about an offensive partner. Plus, I don't know how many times we played against Halifax where either up in the booth or on the show, we talked about how tough it was for Moncton to get in front of the net as opposed to Halifax that was just allowed to stand there. So I think he's one piece, large piece on the back end with a FU attitude that they need, and I think they'll acquire another one, whether it's free agency or another deal come training camp, or Euro. And then Marcus Vidicek for Sean Carrier. Yeah.
I'll take over. So the Dylan McKinnon was obviously largely speculated last year. We made several hints that he was going to be a Wildcat. If you didn't pick up on those hints, what the hell is your problem? Yeah. I wasn't expecting it to be all 3 picks going back to Halifax, so I was a bit surprised on that one.
Because you kind of thought maybe there was a bit of a discount for helping them out at the trade period.
There's that, and I thought it was those 3 picks. I thought it was going to be McKinnon and Vidicek as a combo deal for those 3 picks, plus, because you're not going to get those 2 players for those 3 picks. But I thought it was going to be those 2 plus those 3 picks plus some other pieces. Yeah. No way did I see this going down as 2 separate deals. The Sean Carrier deal is every time he was on the ice last year, he made something happen. Yep. He was treated poorly by the coaching staff, specifically Dan Lacroix. Yep. He was not put in a place to succeed. So if the rumors are true that he requested a trade, I understand why. Mm-hmm. However, I was told through, I would consider it to be a pretty reliable source that, the McDougals were successful in convincing him to stick around, which was why I was quite surprised to see him included in the deal for Vidicek.
So was he.
And I will say that it was a bad mark on the Wildcats' end for him to find out about the trade while he was scrolling through Instagram while working out at the gym. There are...
Not from our Instagram.
Yeah. There are other ways for a player to find out that they have been traded. And it was just a bad look. Yeah. It was a bad look on the Wildcats, a bad look on his agent. With respect to, I'm not sure who his agent is, but unless they just decided to trade him without notifying anybody.
Yeah.
Because the Thursday trade period, it was the last trade. There was no other trade posted after it.
Yeah.
So if it was just okay, yeah, we'll give you him, and then boom, then that's just a bad look. You can't let that happen. Getting back to the trade, if you are including him in this deal for Marcus Vidicek, pardon my language, you better fucking be all in.
Yeah.
Because you're giving up
3 years,
3.5 years, 3 years at least of Sean Carrier for 1 year of Marcus Vidicek. So you better be all in if that's what you're paying for a 20-year-old. Now, compared to what Val Rimouski paid for a 20-year-old defenseman,
steal.
It's a steal.
Yeah.
We actually got a pretty good deal.
Yeah. And maybe that's where the deal part of you helped us out at Christmas. Because from all indications, this deal's done. There's nothing on top of it. There's nothing coming down the pipe. Now, the night before set you and me into a bit of a, I don't want to say tizzy, but a bit of a, I don't know what's happening as we go through all of our sources, as Matthias Rousseau was rumored to be coming here. And, I mean, you want to talk about Carrier finding out on social media. I mean, we have learned in 7 years not to go out and share the information that we find right away or other profiles do. And we're not knocking the profile that did it because they had reputable sources that they believed. Maybe they had 3 or 4, and that's understandable. That's what you're looking for in this market. And by market, I mean media market. We didn't have those. We weren't going to share it. But, man, like...
I was freaking out.
Yeah, for Steinman to read it, like I almost had to do the show by myself, but for Steinman to read that kind of stuff that's out there, that can't be easy. Now, it wasn't coming from the team, wasn't coming from us, it wasn't coming from any Quebec media, and that's, I think, where you kind of, if Lullen set bombs or
Mike
LaRue,
drops, as I call him.
Yeah.
Because it's
Nice.
Mick.
Mike.
Mick.
Nice.
Mike drops.
LaRue's not tweeting it out. Like, you cannot have an idea. Look, still could happen at Christmas. There's a whole half a season to play. But, I mean, I've had many people ask when that came out, that flooded with questions of, is this happening? Should we do this? This is a good deal. We're getting a World Junior goalie, blah, blah, blah. Steinman gave you great first halves where he was dominant. He was defensive rookie goalie of the... There was an award that I can't think of off the top of my head. In year one, he was great in the first halves. He fell off just like the guys in front of him.
Yeah.
We have not seen Steinman play in front of a defense that has structure and plays well and comes out as a unit. And he doesn't. The team we're building in this all-in year for giving up Carrier for a 20-year-old, he doesn't have to be great. He doesn't have to steal games. He's just got to be good enough to make the saves that are needed to be saved. And he'll do that. Same with Keegan Warren. So spending, and this is what I said to a few people, spending the assets on a player when you have two very good ones is ridiculous asset management. Just build the front and the back end and leave your goaltenders alone.
Yeah. No, it's exactly right. And this is nothing to knock Simon. When you look at Ruin Aranda, when they won their Memorial Cup, their goalie, I'm pretty sure it was it. Their goalie was Chase Marchand.
The first one, in Red Deer.
Yeah. That's not a goalie that's gone on to an NHL career, you know? You just need goals scored and solid defense and a good goalie to win, right? If you've got a solid D-core, they're going to take care of their own business. And as long as the goalie does his job and makes the saves he needs to make, you're going to win a championship.
That's all you need.
Saginaw's goalie, the Memorial Cup, wasn't necessarily lights out. He was good, but he wasn't great. They won a Memorial Cup.
Yep.
You know, I don't think we need a big star goaltender, World Junior goaltender for this team to win.
Well done, Chase Marchand in 2015.
Yeah, like it's... You don't need it. It's just not. And even when Rouen won the Memorial Cup in Halifax, Samuel Harvey went on to a great U Sports career with UNB.
Yep. And again, drafted, developed.
Yep.
Steinman's been here for 3 years. He's earned, 2 years. This will be his third. He's earned the right to go all in with this group that he's been around.
Yep. I agree. You don't need a stud netminder. No. There's not a lot of stud netminders in this league. There's one or two, and that's it. You don't need one of them. You're just paying for it's unnecessary assets.
Yeah.
If you're going to get a goalie, that's why when I saw that trade, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! It cannot be real." And this source said, "Oh, it came directly from Mathis Rousseau." Well,
that's that video.
Okay, it came directly from Mathis Rousseau. Yeah. Recheck your sources. Yeah. And props to this account on Instagram for, deleting their post and
owning up
more,
to it.
And owning up to it and more or less apologizing to their followers because they were wrong. And look, let's give this account credit. They've been super accurate.
Yeah.
With their information.
Yeah.
And this was a missed call on their end, and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, but it's Zone LHJMQ on Instagram. They're very, very, very reliable. All the information
I'm not
going to
name them. And then you
99% of their
This is their first miss in 2 or 3 years.
It really is. They've been super accurate. Yep. This is their first miss, and it's going to happen.
Yep. And it's to show you, make sure you have this correct, because being right is cool to be first, but being accurate is more important when you're second and third and stuff like that. So, is our guest ready?
Sure. Are we talking about the Wildcats draft, or are we just going to go straight to the?
Well, if he's ready, we'll go to the guest, and then we'll come back to the Wildcat draft after.
As far as I know, he is ready.
Okay. Well, then we'll go to the guest, and then we'll come back because we don't want to make him wait
No.
very much longer. So, we'll get to the view from the other bench here.
View from the other bench.
All right, so we're going to go to a view from the other bench, but it's with a familiar name. We're pleased to have longtime supporter of our show and what we do. He's now with Chicoutimi, the assistant general manager, Richie Thibault. First of all, Richie, thanks for taking the time to join us. How are you?
I'm great. Always great to join you guys.
So I guess I'll start off. I mean, it was an odd weekend. It was a fast weekend, but it was just odd to see you in Chicoutimi gear. We knew you were there, but it was just odd to see you in that gear and then announcing the pick with a different logo behind you, which, again, it was nice to see you getting to announce first-round pick. I guess we knew you weren't going to be out of work for long. Just how did this come together? How quickly did this come together? Just kind of give us an info on your new role there.
Well, Chicoutimi was one of the teams that I always admired and always had a good relationship with Yannick Shaw. And a couple of weeks ago, I did put a call into him wondering if he had any interest in my services and stuff. And I guess last Friday is kind of when we got it done. And he offered me the position to work with him, and I said yes. So the Friday before the draft. So we made an announcement on Monday, and I started working for him on Thursday. So, I didn't have much to do with the actual draft itself, if you will, because I hadn't seen a lot of the players this year purposely. And, I'd seen them, early in the year and around Christmas, but I hadn't been to the final tournament in Montreal and stuff like that. So, but I was able to help out with trades and things like that.
So I guess you said you didn't have a lot to do. I guess we've always had you on or in and around the draft talking about draft boards, and you build your board talking to Moncton scouts and stuff like that. So did you kind of bring a version of your draft board into their room just to compare notes, I guess? Or did you just kind of let them run the show, kind of be in the background a little bit and just kind of go with the flow?
Yeah, they ran the show. Their head scout, Daniel Demers, has done this for a long time with Yannick and his scouts. I really didn't have much to do there. I didn't have a draft board to bring with me or anything like that. That was the Moncton one is the Moncton one, and I really did not know the final list. I purposely had not been involved with the head scout Alex for a long time, and because I know there's nothing to move around there. It's really let Denny Demers and his scouts. They did the work all year, and they set their lists and they went by their lists, and I was really more of an advisor at certain times on a couple questions, but I really had no part to play in the actual picks.
Based on, I know you said you saw these players kind of at the beginning of the year. Based on how the first round played out, did you see it kind of go the way you expected it to go, or did you come across any surprises that really kind of opened your eyes?
Well, we as a group knew that the top 5 or 6, who the players were, and that's why we made a trade from 7 to 6, and then we had pick number 10, and we had a strategy depending on who was there at 6 and who was there at 10, and we kind of things turned out the way we expected, and that's how we picked. But we knew that after 6 or 7 that they could go anywheres, and that's what it did. We tried to move down a little bit, but there was really no good offers for us to move down.
So joining the enemy, they took us out in 4 last year in round 1, and I mean they had an unbelievable draft last year, and they're just building to something. The Ty and Lawrence pick, obviously on the surface that doesn't look like a pick for this year because there just doesn't look like there's room for him. But that's just is that where you come in as a Maritimer in helping recruiting that kind of a player to Chicoutimi? Because that seems like it's a move a couple years down the road when Chicoutimi's knocking on the championship door in a quote unquote all in year.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, Chicoutimi's got a good team now. They've done a lot of excellent work the last couple of years, and like you say, their draft last year was exceptional. And after Christmas this year, they went on a long winning streak. And, and they gave us in Moncton a very tough first round and beating us 4 straight. So I don't think we can underestimate the skill and the team that they have. Now, from there, the 2 first-round picks and get those in the sea, and a couple of trades with a couple of veteran 20-year-olds coming in with Kasim Gadet and Ganya are really going to help. So, they had a good team, and I think the team's going to get a little bit better. And yes, it's building for a couple of years, but, we didn't really think that they were going to be very good last year as far as winning playoff games, but they were. So I don't think we should underestimate that team, that's for sure, with the coaches they have.
No, we don't.
Looking at the Chicoutimi picks, 10th round, Felix and Alexei Cadran. Assuming you guys are hoping that they turn out to be the Chicoutimi Saulniers?
Well, it's funny because I really don't know the kids and I haven't met them other than after the draft, and I really didn't see them play. But when Danny Damaris took them and he turned to me and he says, "I sure hope those are the Saulniers." And I said, "Really?" So do I. So that's really as much as I know from them. I met them. I couldn't tell them apart. So it'll be a learning process for me moving forward to try and be able to tell them apart.
Obviously, your goalie pick, Jordan Mittenberg, was probably a goalie that you were able to see a little more than maybe some of the Quebec scouts for Chicoutimi. What did you like about him to snag him in the 8th round?
Yeah, that's a player that I did see quite a bit in the playoffs because I was following Jack Ian around to watch him play to see how ready he was to play in Moncton. And as I watched him play, I seen Rittenberg play against him. So he's a guy that kind of grew on me. He's a big goalie, and he's got very athletic and a good glove. He's a baseball player, so he's a real good athlete. We were very happy to get him where we did, and gives us some good goaltending options moving forward.
So we've, loved the work you've done in many drafts. You're going to have hits, you're going to have misses. You generally didn't miss later on in the draft and stuff like that. And building this team into what's our all-in year and whatnot, and being the guy, what's it? I mean, you and Yannick Jean, like, how does that kind of dynamic work? You're both very good at drafting, developing, in terms of trades. Just, is it more of a bounce off and he has the final say? Like, just, I guess, how does it go from being a general manager now to an assistant general manager? Just take us into, I guess, the role of an assistant general manager, if you will.
Yeah, for me, Yannick Jean's the general manager. Yannick Jean makes the final decisions. And I'm perfectly fine with that. My job is to be part of the team and to be a team player. I give my opinion, and everybody else does the same. And there's a really good environment there for people to share their opinion without, fear of retribution in any way. And there's a really open dialogue that happens that I've seen this weekend, which I was very impressed with. And at the end of the day, somebody needs to make a decision. And then if it's a head scout decision or a general manager decision, then it's our decision moving forward. So for me, it's really been part of the team. When I'm scouting, I'm working with the head scout and, he's got the final decision. And when I'm working with Yannick on trades and stuff, I give my opinion. I'll be responsible for the European draft and free agents and the maritime scouting. But at the end of the day, the general manager makes the decisions, and I'm perfectly fine with that because I just want to be part of the team and part of an organization that seems really open to allowing people to vent their opinions and work hard and have fun.
So when you guys traded for that 6th overall pick, maybe you can say this, maybe you can't, but was Jaden Plouffe your target? Because I know this kid's going to score a lot of goals.
Yes. Yes.
That was easy.
We were hoping he'd be there. We thought there was a chance he'd go with 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we had him very high on our list. And we thought if we get to 6, but if we stayed at 7, we wouldn't get him. And if we went to 6, there was a chance we'd get him. Yeah. And when he was there at 6, we were ecstatic, to be honest with you.
No,
all the scouts that had seen him, it was their guy, and we had him very high. And, I had only seen him a little bit, but all the scouts, the Chicoutimi scouting staff were very excited with that pick.
Yeah, I remember seeing a video over the weekend. It was actually had a Chicoutimi scout, and I can't think of his name, but he was being interviewed by some guy on TikTok, and they were like saying, build the perfect player based on the Q draft prospects. And the question was, who's the best goal scorer in the draft? And he said Jaden Plouffe. So that's a pretty good fit for what you already have in in Chicoutimi.
Yeah, and that's what the scouts say. This guy goes to the net, and there's not a lot of players that go to the net anymore. But this guy loves to go to the net and loves to score goals, and he's very highly competitive. Which when you put those three things together, he normally ends up on the scoreboard.
Maybe it's just you when you go to different teams, players just fall to you. Whether it's Carrier, you make a trade and Carrier is there, or guys in the 10th round that follow you to your board. I mean, Chicoutimi again with Alex Wang last year just kind of positioned themselves, and the perfect player just falls to him. It's just something. So you mentioned there you're in charge of the Euros. Are you going over to Europe, or are you will you be going to Chicoutimi for training camp and all that kind of stuff? Like, what's your summer plan for yourself?
My summer is, I'm working on schedules now, but wherever there's players playing hockey, I plan to be in the rinks. My focus now is on the European draft. There's nothing to do in Europe at this point. But we have a list through our contacts of, as an hour goes on the phone with potential agent, potential players. So, we'll find some Europeans amongst all our contacts between Yannick and I. And but at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to make sure that we have a good Euro that fits our needs in Chicoutimi. So that'll be my focus here for the next few weeks until the European draft.
Beauty. Well, just before we let you go, if there's ever a trade going down between Chicoutimi and Moncton, you have to let us know first, so we can sign off on it and give the approval. And then you can go to Yannick and say you're good to go.
Yeah, it's better. Hopefully, it's better than the last trade I made with Chicoutimi. Do you remember that one?
Well,
Jonathan DeRosier.
Yeah. Who ended up being a 20-year-old captain. Yeah, it was.
I mean, in fairness, that's you never know.
You can't win them all.
Yeah, that's the hits and the misses. I mean, Richie, as I said off the top, I mean, you've always been gracious with your time during the seasons, off seasons. You've been one of the biggest supporters of our show in the past 7 seasons. And, along with Michelle last year, you guys allowed us to be at the draft and then allowed us media access. And there literally isn't enough I could do to repay you from the bottom of our hearts. And I said this to Michelle, for everything that you've done over the past 7 seasons. I'm getting teary-eyed again. And everything you did last year that allowed us to prove we belong. And, man, we cannot thank you enough. We hope you have all the success in Chicoutimi except against us. But there's nothing we can do, Richie. You've been a huge supporter of us for 7 years, and we appreciate all your time that you've given us.
Yeah, you know what? When people have the passion and stuff, that's what you want. I'm the same way with myself in hockey. I got the passion. I want to work in hockey and have fun. And when you guys have the passion that you do have, I think it's important that gets fed and taken advantage of as far as you're allowed to promote what you'd like to do. So I think that's why you're doing what you're doing and being successful at it.
Perfect, man. We appreciate it. We'll let you get back to your summer. And again, thanks for taking the time with us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Again, I just can't give these thank yous. I just get teary-eyed. It's just seriously
emotional moments brought to you by the Wildcast.
Brought to you by Breton Brewery from Cape Breton. I'm getting
brought
into
to
the
you by
beers.
Dirty Blonde. 9 locks.
It's just I've been talking to him even before I knew you and started this show on an iPhone, and it continued to carry, and it was different to see him around. We got to the press conference, and the first person we saw was Tozer, Stella, Richie
Tebow, and
he wasn't wearing. It was just a different logo. And it was just it was weird, but it was very good to see him get to make a first round pick. I mean, he never got to do that.
It's funny. As soon as he made the pick, I got messages saying he was being booed.
Really?
I didn't hear any boos. Did you hear any boos?
I didn't, but I'll bet you that was more the fact that it was Chicoutimi who sent us out in 4 and ran our show than it was Richie Tebow. So, again, thank you, Richie, for everything you've done over the last 7 years, and last season, and being gracious with your time. Going back to the draft, man, you and Austin, 3.5 correct.
No, that's it?
Yeah, you had Maddox Dejanay. You had Benjamin Cossette-Oyette at 2, so you got a half point because it wasn't Ruren. Lestakos and Dylan Rossi.
Come on.
I think you had more on your mock draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that mock draft between the two of you, which is more than the two we had right last year.
Gooby was. I had 8. He went 17th.
Yeah, he went 17th, which was close. But yeah. But you had more right on your mock draft, I do believe.
Yeah, that is true. I did actually pretty damn good on my personal one, which is no big deal.
No, not a big deal.
Leading into the draft talk, I will say when we talked to Richie, I said, I saw this TikTok about, this Chicoutimi scout going over, building building the perfect Q player.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was, the fastest skater. And his answer is, I don't even instantly off the top of his head, Nico Elcoury.
Yeah.
So that just tells you, what type of player we're getting. We're getting a very fast player. And from what I've heard, he's on Loshing level when it comes to speed.
Okay.
So that'll lead us into our Wildcats draft recap.
That's perfect timing.
Brought to you by, I'm not going to say it because it's not a sponsor.
Yeah. Brought to you by, you can see what we're drinking.
Yeah.
Who hashtag not sponsor. I will take one credit. I mean, I said Jackson Batchelder on the live as a defenseman that Moncton could be interested in.
Yes, you did.
And he went 37th overall. Now we got there on Saturday, tired as all get out, and some rumblings. And again, that's the coolest part about being on the floor, because you look at your computer, you look up, and you see two GMs talking, or you see you just hear everything in and around. And we had heard Moncton and Bathurst were likely to make a trade, so we thought we were moving up. Again, they stayed true to their board. They got Jackson Batchelder, Elcoury, Nikash. I wrote that.
It's going to be hashtag Nikash.
Yeah, I know. I wrote that down on my thing. I wrote his name spelled properly, and then I wrote in brackets Nikash. And Victor Morissette Richard, now in talking to Taylor, who was on our YouTube, and then we'll have our interview with Alex Gauthier here a little bit. All the teams talk about, oh, yeah, we got our guy. We stayed true. We got our guy. Mm-hmm. They literally got their 4 guys they wanted and didn't have to really move to go get them.
No, you're right. Batchelder, there was a relationship with Taylor. So if anybody knows him better, please introduce me to this person. Yeah. Because Taylor actually represented Jackson Batchelder prior to becoming the Wildcats general manager. So nobody knows him better on and off the ice other than Taylor. So I am very confident in this pick. You are always familiar with him from your time as doing some color for the Flyers. He's got room to grow. If you ask me, I think, listed at 6 foot 152, I think he can easily get to 6'2", 180 and be like that mobile right shot, kind of gets into the play to the point where he acts like a fourth forward sometimes.
I think right now he's got I'm not picking on the kid, he's got the Grenier vibe where he's really good from the red line in.
Yeah.
And he's got to work on the defensive side. I think if he gets a little bit taller and in maturing in his game, I think he's got, I don't want to say poor man's Olivier Boutin, but he's got that where he can get up the ice and get right back and be smart defensively.
Yeah.
Which, like his guys he looked up to, which when you asked him that, and we get to feel old now because it's guys that were in the league in Noah Dobson and Jordan Spence. I mean, he's got, I think I saw him 4 times, and he's kind of got that level to him.
Yeah. No, and I mean, you can't go wrong. You can't have too many right shot defensemen because, let's be honest, they don't exist. No. I mean, they exist, but they're not as much as they should, right?
You can't just go get one.
Yeah. So if you look at the style of play, his style of play, and then you add a Dominic Nikash to the mix, you're kind of like, you want to almost kind of flip it around where right now where Etienne Morin's like your offensive defenseman. Mm-hmm. Well, Batchelder's going to be your offensive defenseman. But then you look at Dinel. Again, I'm throwing I'm not comparing these players at all. But assuming Morin and McKinnon are a pair. Well, I think Nikash and Batchelder will be a pair. Not this season, maybe not the fall. Well, I could easily see them being a pair within 2 to 3 years. I just think the mix of Nikash's kind of defensive game and Batchelder's offensive game make it a perfect pair for down the road.
Yeah. Were there any? I mean, we went and got 3 goaltenders, which we talked about on live. Moncton likes to at least go get 1 goaltender, and again, you'll hear a lot about these players when in a few minutes there with head scout Alex Gauthier. But we went and got a wiener from Riverside, Connecticut, Frisco, Texas. Got a nice Texan.
Hockey hotbed. The son of NHL player Alain Nasreddine.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Doesn't the name set? Oh, can't be very many hockey players with Nasreddine as the last name.
No, they really can't. And I will say that I don't know if it was a plan, but they went and got the longest last names they could find. And when you're quote unquote building a small graphic for things and you only have limited space, and they get like 14, like our equipment guy's got his work cut out for him with these long names. It looks like a good group. It's a tall group, and size has been something that Moncton went smaller in a few earlier drafts, and now they've kind of got back to size wise. And again, a lot of these players aren't here for this year, potentially next year. But 2 years down the road, this looks like a good group that can compete. And, we won't find out how Taylor and Gardner did in their first draft. And again, we shouldn't be surprised because it's the scouting staff that's really stayed together. And Rick Melanson, the assistant GM, they've been together for, 4 drafts now? I think Rick's been here. So obviously Taylor probably had the final say. But it's any names that kind of stuck out to you from our group?
Well, I mean, if you want to look at steals, Nico Elcory, I think, is a absolute steal. When I first started jotting down names for a mock draft, I actually had him going in the first round.
Oh, really?
When I first started jotting names around, I had him, I think, with that 19th or 20th pick, one of the last 2 picks of the first round. So for him to still be available at 39 is a steal. And I believe when you hear the Alex Gauthier interview, he will say that some teams were coming up to him after that pick saying, "You took our guy, you took our guy, you took our guy,"
which is perfect.
You can't go wrong with anytime you hear that. Do I think any of these guys will make the team next season? Probably not. I think it's just way too deep.
And the C-Shep rule.
Yeah, it's the C-Jep rule. It's the depth on the team.
Yeah. I mean, you could maybe carry 1 or 2 for the first month if they had that rule like the NHL.
Yeah.
Again, like even if they got 5 games, something like that, you could maybe see probably 2 that could make this group. I'll just guess 2. But with the C-Shep rule for the Quebec kids, it's very tough. And in Dubray at last year's camp made it because of C-Shep and didn't really get in any ice time because there just wasn't any room. And that's...
So I don't think the 16-year-olds are affected by this CJEP rule. So realistically, guys like El Khoury, Nikash, Morissette Richet, these guys can stick around for really as long as they want until the midget AAAs in Quebec get up and running. Yeah. Or, Batchelder, developmentally, you hope he's picked early in the Maritime Hockey League draft this weekend, and he plays Junior A, so that next season he's playing against guys that are junior aged, right? And that just helps out with his game helps with his development. El Khoury played on one of the worst teams in Quebec last year as a second line player, so I think he goes back this year, plays first line.
Is that the blue team Viking?
It's Saint Eustache. It's St. Hyacinthe, the same team that Dinwiddie played on.
Oh, okay.
So worst team in Quebec U18 last season.
Which makes sense after winning.
Goes back next season, dominates, plays first line, plays all situations, comes back in a rebuilding year with the Wildcats and probably plays top 6. Nikash, same thing. Probably needs another year in AAA, and then comes back, on the same path as Badchild, or like I said, same pairing. Put them together. Maurice Richer played midget minor, so he needs a year of AAA to develop. Max Hanley was, the top-rated defenseman out of Nova Scotia. So, again, I think these are guys that need more development. The American goalie, Jacoby Wiener, and Loic Nasruddin, they will be at camp from what we were told, which shows
Jacoby's
they are interested.
6'1", 222.
He's a big goalie.
He's a big goalie.
Yeah, so these
Now,
from
we've
what
seen
we understand,
that before.
yeah, from what we're told, they'll be at camp, which shows they have an interest in the CHL, which is always good. Elliot Mullen was a territorial pick in the Maritime Hockey League, I think Truro. So whether he plays Junior A next year remains to be seen. Samuel Deschênes is a big forward who played midget minor, so hopefully he makes that AAA jump next year. Loic Gallant is an 07, so he's a second-year eligible defenseman. So really, if you look at this list, the first player who's going to be affected by CEGEPT is Loic Gallant. So your first player that's affected by CEGEPT, I'm pretty sure I understand the rules, it's not to your 10th round.
Perfect.
So it's and by the looks of it,
I hope they keep them to play in the preseason just to give them, like, we usually go to the preseason the first 3 games, and then the rest of the games I don't really I don't make a point to go.
Yeah.
I always make a point to go before Labor Day because that's the young kids you want to see who are drafted, developed, and playing and learning in this league. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they can keep a few so that you kind of come see our 3rd round pick, come see our 4th round pick in the preseason. Like, let these guys play against a little bit older to see where they are in terms of development.
Yeah. Just going down the list, Spencer Thornborough from Massachusetts, he was actually on the American team at the World Youth Olympics, which won gold medal against Team Canada, which featured Tynan Lawrence, Cameron Chartrand, Aidan O'Donnell, right? So he's in that USA hockey, he's on the radar. Tristan Turner, automatically Brett DeBoer's favorite player. Xavier Trepanier, we've learned is a brother or
brother-in-law,
brother or stepbrother,
stepbrother
to Caleb Dinwiddie. So there's a family connection there. Jeremy Thibodeau.
El Curry would have played with Dinwiddie too, wouldn't he have?
They didn't play on the same team.
No? Okay. I thought maybe he would have been like...
But, I mean, likely, assuming Trepanier makes AAA next season, then El Curry and Trepanier will be teammates. Tristan, like we said, Tristan Turner, Louis-Philippe Richard, from what I gather, had a very big year. He was a high scorer in, at the younger level. Played some midget minor. Again, these are players that I think they were strategically drafted by the Wildcats, knowing that, look, these guys should make AAA next year and should dominate AAA next year. So, if we look at this show in 6 months' time or 8 months' time, and we look at this, the point totals in the Quebec League, I think we'll see a lot of these guys kind of in the top of the scoring.
I guess just surprises of the draft for you in terms of any team, and I got one which I was given information about.
Oh yes,
from Sir Mike Sanderson, voice of our drops.
I mean,
Bathurst, St. John, and Moncton combined 0 New Brunswick players.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm assuming you knew that.
Yeah, I did know
but
that.
When was the last draft the Moncton Wildcats didn't take
a flyer?
Yeah, and we're sitting there looking at Gil going, go get him.
Yeah, go get him. He was there.
He's dropping. Go get him. Go get him. I mean, Isaiah Rogerson.
Didn't go to the 14th round.
We both looked at each other and went,
he wasn't picked already?
Because they were just ripping through names wise, and we just thought he was gone.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the 14th round, and we're just like, what?
I mean, if you want to talk about a value pick.
Yeah.
I mean, Rimouski? Was it Rimouski or...
Rimouski.
He got picked by Rimouski. Or was it...
No, Blainville.
Blainville?
Gil? Who are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about Rogerson.
Islanders. Charlottetown.
Islanders. That's a value pick.
Yeah.
So any Charlottetown Islanders listeners out here, you talk about, drafting well in the later rounds, you have yourself a gamer. Yes, he plays a little bit of an individual game, doesn't like to use his teammates.
But that was a terrible St. John team, so he was the
dreadful.
Offense. Yeah, so...
you've got a winner. You've got a really good pick in the 14th round.
Yeah, 240.
Another one with the Islanders was... I can't think of his name, but his last name is Massey, but he's a Nicola Riopel guy.
Benintendo Antonio Massey.
Third round CSR, picked him in the 7th round. With an agent like Nicola Riopel, he's going to be pushing the CHL in terms of development. So another good value pick there by the Islanders.
They took son of Louis Robitaille, Caden Robitaille.
There you go.
Kind of a cool connection.
But no, overall, pretty good draft, I think, for Moncton. I was looking at you. I was like, they need a goalie. They need a goalie. And then they took Will Cole, and I was like,
okay.
Nothing against them. Okay. And I was like, they need a Quebec goalie. And they took Thibodeau Soucy. And I think,
and they took an American goalie.
Mr. Wiener could be a very, if he shows an interest and maybe wants to come in next year. I think he's not next season, but next 2025, 2026. He could be a very solid goalie to develop in your system if he decides to take this route. And seeing as how the CHL NCAA rules are changing, we could see this one working out in our favor.
I think the surprise of the draft for everyone was Daniel Walters at 11.
Well,
to the Halifax Mooseheads, because he was a little bit lower on draft boards. Again, we don't know team draft boards. We're just looking at CSR lists. He was a little bit lower. That was the pick from the Cat4 deal. Mm-hmm. He's a hometown kid. He plays for the Max. He's taken with the first round pick from the Cat4 deal. A lot of pressure on him, but I think that kind of stunned everyone.
It stunned a lot of people, stunned me. But at the same time, he's got the character and the grit to really be an impact player in the league. And I really see him, for any Halifax fans listening to the show, as a future captain of the Mooseheads. I think he's got that style of play. Being a local product, just the way he plays, I really see him, having a C on his jersey by the time it's, by the 18 or 19-year-old season. He's going to be captain of that team.
And you get a choice between Val-d'Or or St. John. Who's your first round winners? Val-d'Or took Benjamin Cossette-Ayette, Jacob Gucci, and Olivier Benjamin. St. John took William Yard, Dylan Rossi, and Cameron Chartrand.
So if Cameron Chartrand reports, and I think there's a very good chance he does, because Travis Crickard was an assistant coach of Team Canada at the World Olympic Games, which featured Cameron Chartrand. So there's a relationship already with the coach, which I think will help if he decides to show up and signs with St. John. They're absolutely the winners of this draft. I hate picking winners because these players haven't played a game yet, but it's hard to pass up William Moret, Dylan Rossi, and Cameron Chartrand.
But Val-d'Or did a very good job with
Val-d'Or.
Benjamin Cossette-Ayette.
Knocked it out of the park.
I honestly thought that maybe Gucci was going 11 to Halifax. I was like, they're going to go get a Moncton defenseman to replace the Moncton defenseman they just got rid of, a big bruising body on the back end. And I was just like, okay, they took someone else. And then he goes to Val-d'Or.
Yeah. No, it's... I got to give a shout out to, because I think I did this last year, where Nathan LeConte was the best dressed at the draft.
Yeah.
Well, this year it was Jacob Gucci, the all pink suit. Look, I'm not a
green jersey. I like that.
Not a fashion guy, but a green jersey and pink pants. A little bit of a clash there, but he made it work.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been the time the Valdor gives them the white jersey, because they kind of a lot of teams go with both colors, and that would have been a good time for them to do that. But overall, it was. I hope everyone was there. I hope everyone enjoyed it. It was a fun time. It's cool. It doesn't come around our city very often. There's rumblings it could be in Gatineau next year. There's rumblings it could be in Halifax. There's rumblings it could be on Zoom.
Yeah.
Hopefully not the third option, but we'll get into some of our guests here that we talked to after the draft. So we chatted after with head scout Alex Gauthier for the second year in a row. We asked him about what working with a new GM was like, and I guess just what his summer will be moving forward. And then after that, you will hear our catch up with Nick Riopel. 5 years almost to the day. I interviewed him when we went to Quebec as fans to cover this, and dude's agency has grown in 5 years
tremendously.
Mackenzie Weegar, the best goalie in Canada in women's hockey. Deban, I believe, is her name.
Isn't it Fecteau? Emile Fecteau or something? Emily Fecteau?
I can't
Yeah, anyways.
Canada's women's goalie. This is really bad. Anyways, she's the best goalie in Canada for the women. We'll come back to that after. And what it's like to represent Q players, NHL players, and he gets ready to go to the draft in Buffalo. So we'll hit that.
What's up, podcast fans? Adam and Jeremy here at the QMJHL draft. It has completed. It has ended. We made it to the end. We're here with head scout Alex Gauthier. I guess just first question, obviously, with the new regime with Taylor McDougall. I mean, I don't know how much your role changes, if it changes at all, or just how was it with the new crew?
No, exactly the same role. I mean, I knew Taylor because he was an agent just before getting the job. Yeah. And I know Garner for a long time because, hockey is a small world. Yeah. So, but I had contact with Taylor for his player like the week before he's get that done. So we have a very good relationship, and I think so far he trusts me and I trust him. He was fantastic on the floor, moving those picks around. So that's great.
Our first pick of the day, Jackson Batchild. I know there was a bit of a relationship there with Taylor McDougall. From the times that you got to see him on the ice, what did you like about his play?
Jackson is a great skating defenseman. He's a right shot. He has a good defensive and offensive instinct. He's a very good in transition. He'll jump a little bit in the play when he has a chance. So we were very happy to get him there. I think he has a lot of upside on the road for sure.
So we talked about it last night on the live, how Moncton usually likes to take a goaltender. You guys end up taking three, a couple Americans and one, a big kid in Loic Nazarene, I believe. He's like, no, not that one. Jacob Wiener, about 6'2", 220, big kid. Just talk about that, the goaltender. And, I mean, obviously you guys like to keep getting goaltenders each and every draft.
Yeah, we were a little bit thin in goaltender prospect right now. We drafted Simon Cormier last year, but we didn't have that many more on our list, right? So it was target to draft this kid, and we were lucky we got the Cole kid from Collaborate, which we really liked. And then I went to the state to scout some guys in the draft, and I saw that U.S. goalie that was on our territory, Jacoby Weiner. So he was impressive. He's a good goalie in the state. So we just sent a line to him, and he responded, and we started chatting around. So there's a good chance that he comes to camp. So we never always know with the Americans, but he has a very good upside. And even the kid we picked in the 11th round, Jérémy Thibodeau-Soucy, he's an 07 kid. So he'll be a guy to check down the road, and that gave us three goaltenders that we really liked in the draft. So we're very happy about that position.
Yeah, I was going to mention his name. Obviously, your staff has done a pretty good job of identifying some pretty good value picks later on in the draft. Thibodeau-Soucy, and you got Loic Gallant, I believe, as well. What do you like about those kids that you see could be a potential for the Wildcats down the road?
Yeah, well, the idea with drafting 307 later in the draft is in a couple of years for now, even if they don't play at 17, when they're going to be 18 years old, they may make it next year, don't get me wrong, but if they come back at 18 years old after that, they're just a little bit maybe more mature and ready. And the three guys, well, the goalie is about 6'1", it's maybe less important, but Giguère and Gallant are big kid, so they fit some potential depth role on our roster for sure, and maybe more. You know what? They're kids that we really like, and especially the Giguère kid, like he really went up in the projection and was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I need to pick that kid at one point, so that's good.
So obviously with 16 picks, you guys were quite busy. when you look back on your draft board and how you put it together, did it fall the way you kind of thought? Were there a few surprises at certain picks that kind of made you worry, or did you stuck to your board and that's kind of how it went?
Oh no, we were super excited with especially like all the draft is pretty nice, but the top 4 guys that we picked, I mean, they were guys that we had very, very high value on them. I think Nicole Curry, people are going to be amazed by how skilled and talented this guy is. He's a first-round talent for us. He's all the skills, and he puts the stat to be there. And then Dominic Neshash, he's a great defenseman. He's a left shot, and he goes well with Batchelder. So those two can complement each other. So we see it that way. And a lot of teams, especially for Nechak, they came to me and say, "Oh, you stole that kid from us." So that's good. That's always a good news.
Now the draft is over. What's your summer like as a head scout of the Wildcats?
A lot of golf, or
no? I have 2 young kids at home, so
okay.
that I'll go more family, because I think that I took a lot of time to do all these interviews at night and stuff with my day job as well. So we'll go. We may check some Euros for the Euro draft coming in, as we traded Zielinski, so we have potentially to draft 1 or 2 Euros there, so we'll see down the road. And after that, just getting prepared maybe for the training camp, see if there's any invite people that we're passionate about that we can use. So that's probably where it's going. But until the training camp, or at least the start of the under-18 AAA camp in Quebec, it should be pretty relaxed hockey-wise.
All right, man. Well, it's been an annual thing. 2 years in a row we have you after the draft, and we really appreciate time. Take a good rest off, and we'll see you maybe around training camp.
Yeah.
Welcome in, podcast fans. Adam and Jeremy here at the Avenir Center, the Wildcast podcast QMJHL draft coverage presented by Alpha's Appliance Solutions. We're here with, you guys know this guy, Nick Riopel, drafted 14th overall in the first round in 2005. What's it like to be back at the draft again?
Always nice to be back just in Moncton in general. I've been spending the last few days with my partner, with some of our clients eligible for the QMJHL draft. Obviously, we know Mr. Irving. He always he knows how to throw a big party, and everybody was very happy and excited to get drafted here.
Speaking of clients, Benjamin Cassette, second overall to Val d'Or. How does that feel being, I guess, on the agent side of things when a guy yours goes that high?
I would say it's still stressful. We need to manage a player. We need to manage the family. And it's something that we didn't know that he was going to Val d'Or. The team wanted to keep it as a secret, but we were really happy with the surprise. Obviously, to be drafted second overall here in Moncton for me was kind of a personal achievement, personal moment that I'm going to remember for a long time. So the family was really happy, the player as well, and just an exciting moment.
So we did this 5 years ago. We were a fan at that point in Quebec, and your agency has grown. I mean, you got the number 1 goalie in Canada for the women's hockey, number 2 overall pick. You got Boyard in Buffalo. So, it's been a busy time for you in these past 5 years. Just talk about what it's been like transitioning from player to player agent and growing the way you have.
Well, obviously, there was a lot of hard work. Yes, we've grown a lot. We're really happy with the way we are right now. Looking up 5 years ago, if you were going to tell me, hey, you're going to get a player in Mackenzie Weegar, a contract of $50 million, and playing for the Flames, and also got, on the women's side, the best women's goal in the world. And now, we just got here because early this week we were in Buffalo with 2 of our players in the top 100 at the prospect with Raoul Boilard and Alexis Bernier, both of Bécomo Drakkar. Now a second overall pick with Benjamin Cassette. We're really, really happy. Yeah, we're really happy. Obviously, there's a lot of competition in the agency business, so we're just happy to be alongside our clients and their family and to cherish those exciting moments with them.
You said that the agent business is competitive. When you look ahead to next year's draft and 2025, when do you start approaching players, or have you already started approaching prospects for next year's Q draft?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of competition, for the agency business east side of Canada, especially for me in the Quebec area. Obviously we are always looking for that next, diamond in the rough. So we are, we have a mentality as an agency like less is more. So we approach maybe a little bit less player, but we take them to another level, and we want to make sure that we surround them with the good advice. And it's I always said I wanted to represent the player the exact same way I would have liked to be represented when I was their age. So right now we're around like 50 clients from top to bottom, from professional level to midget. So I would say that the norm would be to approach a player around 14 years old and kind of give him a 3-year plan until their NHL draft, and that's how normally we do things.
So the NHL draft in a couple, I think at the end of the month here. At the end of the month after the finals. So what is your summer like? I mean, you're obviously going to be at the draft at the Sphere in Vegas, and then is it take some time off, or is it just jump right back into getting those guys ready for NHL camps, Q camps? Like how does your summer go with trying to balance being a player agent as well as a family?
Well, I think a lot of people think that being an agent, their biggest timing is during the season. Well, it's the opposite. Like the biggest workload for me is really during the summer. Started in March, especially with Europe side. We do represent a lot of players in Europe, especially that their season starts really, really early. We need to, exactly. I always get up around like 4 or 5 a.m. just because I know it's already like in Finland. It's 7 hours.
Instagram meeting.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really time consuming, but it's a passion of mine. And as we move forward, as we go along here, like we just got in Buffalo for our 2 prospect at the NHL Combine, and tomorrow I'm flying to Minnesota for the PWHL draft with Emi Fecto, because the Women's League has been booming this season. It's great to see. And now in 2 weeks, me and my partners will be going to Vegas, spend 4 days there. Hopefully good things will turn out. And now it's July 1st, free agency, and now you're looking for development camps, invite, and we're throwing also our agency camp for the 3rd year now. Just give a lot of development tools to our young prospect. And then, month of August starts, training camp starts, and here we go again. So, but it's just, at the end of the day, it's hockey, it's just so much fun. And when you're busy, well, a bad day for you, it's a really good day for someone else. So at the end of the day, I really enjoy what I do right now. Like I said, I've always been really passionate about, representing the player. But even for me, when I was a player, I always want maximize my full compensation, and I know they are working really, really hard. They all have dreams, and that's what's great to see here. A lot of passionate hockey players or family when their name gets selected. Like you can see, like it's a dream to play in the QMJHL. And after that, 2 years, afterwards, it's the dream to be drafted in NHL. So we're assisting our family, and just exciting because it happens only 1 or twice for them, but it happened every year for us. So it's a great pleasure that we do this year round.
Perfect. Well, I know you're a busy man. Thank you, 5 years in the making. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us, Nick.
Thanks, guys. Becoming
kind of an annual thing to talk to Alex Gauthier. Last year we didn't put him on camera. This year we're like, camera, bud. Yeah. But again, like I can't imagine how much work they put in, like, and then to like flat out take a break because you have to spend. You obviously have to find the right balance, and like we said a few minutes ago. I mean, yes, Taylor and Gardner are new, but this scouting staff has put together some pretty good drafts, some pretty good teams led by Alex, to the point where, aside from the names that were out there, you kind of thought maybe Alex could step into a general manager role just based on his drafts.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think he's got a pretty good
gig
job. I think he works in the healthcare industry, and he's I think he's doing pretty well for himself there. And I was at a young family, so I'm not sure if a move to Moncton would be.
No, it's one of those cool things where it sounds cool until you realize you're hired to be fired.
Yeah, yeah. No, pretty much. I wouldn't take that job unless I was guaranteed. Oh.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Adam's had half a beer and he's tumbling out of this chair here. Anybody watching on YouTube right now is probably going to laugh their face off.
If you're not watching on YouTube at the hour and 7 minute mark, let's go watch.
I think it's our first fall in podcast history, which is...
Oh, because I wanted to get a piece of frickin' paper.
It's a piece of paper. It's those trees.
Yeah.
No, it's a very I think what he's doing, and is perfect for him right now. It's like a side gig, and he's doing a tremendous job. You know, we talk about Shikutami drafting well. Well, you know, we've been drafting well too.
Yep.
It's just a matter of putting your aces in their places and your money where your mouth is. And
it's been a while since we've had 4 first-round picks though too. Like
yeah.
That does help when you're drafting 4 first-round picks in the first I don't know 12 picks or something like that they had. So, and then I mean, again, just like Richie's been gracious with his time, Nick has been gracious with his time. From again, he was I think he was my 3rd interview I ever did after McKenna and Sear. So he's been on the show quite a few times, including, like I said, 5 years to the day almost in Quebec for the draft when he was just kind of getting started in this. And now, I mean, every time you follow him on Instagram, he's up for a meeting in Europe and he's always promoting his guys. And, you know, Mackenzie Weegar and Renee Desbain, the Canadian goalie. I think he's got another one in the PWH. Talk about a guy trying to get flights.
Yeah.
He was leaving the next day to try and catch a flight, and I think he stuck in Toronto before flying to Minnesota for the PWHL draft. So, but yeah, I mean that's it for year 7. That'll put a wrap on year 7, sir.
That's it, eh?
Yeah. First, we want to thank all of our sponsors that help bring the show to you: Alpha's Appliance Solutions, Rosemary Lynn Massage and Spa, Eric Murray Realty, and Integrity Lawn Care. Of course, we want to thank all our guests over the past season, including Richie tonight, Alex, and Nick Riopel, and everybody that jumped on during the show this season or during our live post games. We'd also like to thank the Wildcats communication team, Michelle and Richie last year, Lauren, Mallory, and Natasha into the playoffs and draft, and going into next season, which is going to be even better. We can promise you that. Kyle for joining on and helping edit us weekly, and to you, Mr. Boucher, for being the co-host for the past 39 episodes again.
A newly appointed host.
Newly appointed host, yes. I don't know if you caught that off the start. I called myself the co-host, and you were the co-host.
No co-hoster.
Yes. There's no more host and co-host. There's two co-hosts. So get ready to start doing intros. And
I'm ready for it. I'm the podcast recruiter.
Absolutely. And because you actually said we should get Richie on today, and
that's right.
Made it happen. Yeah. So you're in charge of guests from now on. But of course, the biggest thank you is to you, the fans. We don't have a show without your support, from the Instagram lives to the bus trips to the playoff watch parties. You guys have shown us the love, and it's special, and we enjoy all the comments and interactions with you. Big things are planned next season. We're expanding the show to Rogers TV, Wildcast Wednesdays on Q103, and it all gets started next August as we get you set for training camp in this new era. Mr. Boucher, enjoy your summer. Fans of the show, enjoy your summer.
Be safe.
Be safe. Go Oilers, go.
What do they say on there's a country station in Ontario? If you're going boating, beer on the pier. No, water on the water, beer on the pier.
Water on the water, beer on the pier. That's absolutely this summer. Water on the water, beer on the pier. Everybody enjoy your summer. Be safe. Let's go Oilers. Hopefully by the next time I see you, we will be Stanley Cup champions, and we'll be there hopefully for Game 4. Wish us luck. By the time you hear this, Jeremy entered the contest. We might be going. For Jeremy, I'm Adam. We'll see you in August for the Season 8 premiere of the Wildcast Podcast.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast Podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.